Okay, hi Emma. So I hope you've been enjoying riding the new bike, and I thought it's probably getting to be the about time that your cables have settled in, and so I thought I'd go do a little video here to show you how to kind of tune up your shift system with the cables that I installed. So just to explain how they work a little bit, there's a section of 4mm cable underneath your bar tape. So here's where the shift lever is. And then this is under your bar tape, and then there's a junction at a inline cable adjuster barrel, and there's two of those dangling in front of your handlebars. And then there's a section of 5mm cable that runs all the way through your frame and then out the back end, and stops at the rear derailleur cable adjuster. And so I can't show that on this dummy piece, but just imagine this is going all the way through your bike. Now, and another important point is that on the liner that's on your bicycle, the end is flared, so it stays fixed at that point and gets trapped between the barrel adjuster and the 5mm housing, so then it doesn't move around, ideally. So an important point is when you turn the inline adjuster barrel, it takes up slack in the cable, but doesn't affect the effective length of the liner. But when you turn the cable adjuster barrel at the derailleur, and on your bike it's this one right here, it takes up slack in both the liner and the cable, and it changes the effective length of the liner. So I'm going to set that aside now. Oh, and the other thing to keep in mind is that your cables cross inside, so your rear right shift lever goes to your rear derailleur, and that goes into the left side of the head tube, just to make a more elegant turn of the cable. Hopefully it's been shifting okay, but if it hasn't, what you should do is take the chain off and throw it in the wax. See if I can find the master link here. Yep, there it is. There's a little trick with the magnet, and last hook to the left. Set the point. I'll set that aside for now. My wax is not melted. Okay, and the reason to take the chain off is so you can see where the derailleur pulley is in relation to the cassette. And now, if the limit adjuster screws are set properly, and I forgot to mention, you want to shift all the way to the outermost position on the rear derailleur. So if your limit screws are set correctly, then this pulley will be directly in line with the smallest sprocket there. So you should just kind of line them up and eyeball them. Okay, and the next step is to take the slack out of the cable after the liners have settled in. So I'm going to just show you a little trick with using the limit screw to take some of the tension off the derailleur. So what you want to do is, I guess on your bike it'll be a Phillips screwdriver. Just tighten the high limit screw so that it moves the guide pulley in one sprocket, in line with the sprocket. And then what you're going to do is loosen your cable anchor bolt. I'm not going to do it on mine because I just adjusted mine. But loosen your cable anchor bolt and then pull all the slack out of the cable. And the reason to move it inboard, one, is so you're not fighting the cable tension. And then re-clamp the cable down there, and then turn the limit screw counterclockwise to put the guide pulley back in line with the outermost sprocket, so the 11th sprocket again, because that's where it needs to be. You don't want to overshift. Make sure I did that nicely. Okay, and then you want to check the position of the liner. So you want between two, pull this little rubber seal out of the way, and you want between 2 and 10 millimeters of the liner sticking out. And if it looks like that, then you're good. If you have too much liner sticking out, oh, and I forgot to mention, crap. Yeah, I forgot to mention that before you do this trick with taking in the cable tension, you should turn both adjuster barrels all the way in. So let me back up a sec. So take your chain off, turn the adjuster barrels all the way in, so all the way clockwise. Then do the trick with moving the cable in. Then loosen the anchor bolt, take slack out, and then move it back into the outermost position. Then you've taken up all the exit slack in the cable. And now check the liner and make sure that you have a little bit sticking out, 2 millimeters, but not more than 10 millimeters. Otherwise it'll get caught on the anchor. Okay, and then the next step is to, now that you've tightened the cable anchor bolt, click up one, and see if the guide pulley matches, lines up with the next sprocket. And let's see if Alexa can get in there with I want that guide pulley lined up with the second sprocket on one click. And if it does, you're good, but probably doesn't. And line. Let's have a quick look here. I think we're about right there. Now if you've got too much liner sticking out here, then you should adjust at this. It takes slack out here, and then it'll effectively shorten the liner. But if you have about the right amount of liner, then use your cable adjuster barrel at the level, in line at the levers to take the slack out. And then put it back to and then take it up a click and make sure it goes in line with that. Take it up another click, make sure it's in line. 3 clicks. Make sure they line up. Alright, we're looking good. Now, on the outermost click, see mine's doesn't catch. So I'm going to have to adjust the outer cable limit stop a little bit. So this is at the low on my bike. Unscrew it a little bit so we get a little bit more travel. Now it should click into position. Oops. Go back. So I didn't take enough tension out. That's the problem. So I was on 12 clicks and there's only 11, or 10 clicks and there's only 9 clicks and there's only 10. So and I have a little bit more to spare here, so I'm going to take some slack out of the cable there, and that also moves the liner. So you can see I have a little less liner exposed now. Once again, if you turn this, it changes the length of takes slack out of the liner and the cable, and the handlebar or inline adjusters up at your handlebars just take slack out of the cable. Yeah. So I'm going to turn it over till it's in line on the first one. Line it up on the second one, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8, 9, 10. Okay. It's not lined up quite on the outermost one, so just take the tension off the derailleur manually, and then I'm pulling up a little bit more slack so that this guide pulley lines up exactly with that outer one. And if you can't get it far enough out, then you'll need to adjust the lower limit screw, but those should be set pretty much So I hope you don't have to change those. So this is about ideal because when I click into position here is the same time that the derailleur hits the limit screw. And that's ideal. Just a little bit of extra. A little bit of extra slack in there. So which means I can probably move the derailleur just a touch more. Okay. This way you've effectively isolated the rear mechanism from whatever the front's doing. Alright, so it's guide pulley's lined up with this one in that outermost position now. Oops, I just went two. One, lines up again. So and I don't remember on the Shimano systems whether it changed the position of the guide pulley changes a little bit relative to the teeth on the cog. So in the middle gears it should be dead center, and in the higher gears it might be a little bit more off to one side or another, and same in the lower gears. But on average it should be, everything should be about the same. Now it looks good. Alright, and so then you can do is after your chain's cooked and dried, you can go back and reinstall the chain, and that should be a nice tuned up rear derailleur with all the cable slack out, and then all of the liner tucked in properly to the right length there, and that seal, you want to make sure that seal's shoved back all the way under the liner so it's not catching on the cable anchor. Okay, that'll do the rear derailleur. The front derailleur I'll do in another video. Alright, I hope you're having fun. Bye!